Here's the house, here's the door. Windows, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready to knock. Turn the lock. It's play school. Not really, gang. Only kidding. It's the brick slot. And today we're going to be looking at something called systematic inventive thinking. Many years ago, a Russian engineer invented SIT, and basically it's a way of taking an existing idea and tweaking it a bit to make something better out of it. Good example being the smartphone, where we took an ordinary mobile phone and essentially put the internet on it and various apps and gadgets. Instead of thinking outside the box and reinventing the wheel, we're actually thinking inside the box. To give an example, a while ago I saw this really nice little post office on the internet that someone had created. I actually already had quite a nice post office, which I designed myself. But what I did like was this nice little post office van that was on the internet version. So although I didn't copy the post office building itself, I did copy this rather nice post office van, sort of based on a 1950s model. It's got these charming little hinge doors at the back which open and close. And all in all, I thought that vehicle would go really nice with my own post office. I did some slight tweaks to the design. I put opening and closing doors in there instead of just ordinary bricks, and also you'll notice there's some figures in there which represent Postman Pat and his black and white cat. Now, as you can see, the van is loosely based on the old 1950s Morris J type van, and it's a very charming model which I was only too happy to shamelessly copy. But that van actually gave me some ideas for some other models as well. So, for example, when I designed my 1950s and 60s style fire engines, I used that idea of the curved frontage and the grille at the front, the engine grille there, and ditto with this one. And then I designed my ambulance for the 1960s NHS hospital, and if we take the ambulance out and have a look at it in a bit more detail, first of all, you'll notice the doors at the back open out. They're an exact copy of that little post office van, except obviously in a different colour. Again, the frontage of the van has got that nice sort of vertical engine grille there with the kind of curved frontage. I happen to have these front windows here in my collection. I didn't realise you can actually get the little clear plastic inserts that go inside them to make a realistic windscreen. So I used those on this 1950s ambulance, because vehicles of that period often had a sort of two-pane front windscreen. Having those doors turned out to be quite useful as well, because in the back of the ambulance we can slide in this rather distressed looking patient there with his bandages on his head and on his hand. And in the front of the ambulance we've got the two ambulance drivers. They were called drivers in those days, they didn't have paramedics. I christened them Reg and Bert, because I think ambulance drivers should have names like Reg and Bert. Looking at some other vehicles, here's an example of a nice 1960s 2CV French car that I again shamelessly copied from the internet. My contribution was to put those rather nice sloping headlights on the front which stick up, reminiscent of the real vehicle. And next to it is another shameless copy of the old 1960s Mini Clubman, which I pretty much copied from Speed Champions, but again I've made some slight changes there. I've put a nice curved engine grille on the front, which is reminiscent of the real Mini, and I also put these white curved bricks to represent the racing stripes on the front. I then saw a nice Fiat 500 1960s style with this nice little bonnet there, which is actually the same curved brick that we used on the roof of the Mini, but I put a little grille in the indented bit there. I saw this on the internet, but I didn't like the rear part of the Fiat. It didn't look right at all, so what I did was basically took the Mini Clubman and just copied the shape on the back of that Fiat. So the front Fiat I copied from the internet, but the back is just basically the same as the Mini Clubman. And then we put a nice sort of curving black roof on the top, reminiscent of the real Fiat. And finally, just to illustrate how I shamelessly copy things from the internet, I call this the Street of Shame, because these 4 buildings are actually all direct copies of things I've seen on YouTube or on the internet. For example, this lovely sort of Prague style Baroque building is pretty much directly copied. This next building also was from a photograph I saw on the internet on somebody's website. You'll notice here there's a young chap dressed in German lederhosen. That's a kind of homage to a YouTuber called Bob Brickman, who designed these 2 lovely buildings here, which I shamelessly copied from his YouTube channel basically. So a massive shout out to him. Anyway, that's pretty much all we've got time for this week, folks. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and smack that bell. But for the time being, I'll say live long and prosper, and see you all next time.